I am revealing my secret strategy to deal with the romantic client. You see, sometimes they're easily labeled as nightmare clients, as clients that demand that you do everything for them. And anytime you mention words like commitment, stick-to-itness, anytime you say words to them like commitment, engagement, stick-to-itness, and 100%, 150%, like a lot of the gurus say, Tony Robbins, that type of language will turn this particular client into a nightmare client in an instant. I wish someone would have told me that much earlier. So stick around how to turn the romantic type from a nightmare client into, well, a pleasure to be around. See, the romantic type loves nothing more than comfort, ease, beauty, well-being, and can often be, justifiably so or not, be labeled as lazy and uncommitted. How many times have you heard a coach or a business owner say about a client, I will not deal with a client who is not as much committed to their success as I am committed to their success. But with the romantic, it seems like you almost have to push them, and the more that you push, the less willing they are to go along, because it's just not fun, it's not comfortable, it's not pleasurable, it's not something that they can relax into. So what strategy do you have to use? What language, what love language works with the romantic to turn this potential nightmare client or customer around and to pull on the same string as you are, instead of a tug of war where they just drop their end of the rope and walk away, which is a typical reaction for the romantic. To speak the romantic client's language, use trigger words like all done for you, luxury, comfort, the full package, done for you. They want to feel worthy of the best and the luxury and of being pampered and protected and having a sense of pleasure everywhere in their experience, or when they're around you, or in any interaction. Practical, and you don't need all those extras, are the worst words that a romantic wants to hear. They're not interested in practical or cutting corners or having to collaborate. Instead, they want to feel cared for, pampered. They want to feel catered to and not compromised. So the first one is they want to feel worthy and be acknowledged of being worthy of luxury, the best, comfort and ease. The second secret is to trigger the sensory experience. Romantics are all about relaxing, enjoying the moment, slipping into moments of beauty and pleasure. Avoid words like it's good value for the money or this will last forever. It's like speaking a language that the romantic doesn't understand. On the other hand, imagine how it will feel. Can you sense the luxury of this view? Let's say if you are selling them a house, and can you feel that this house has everything done for you? It's like a smart home that has every creature comfort ever invented. And avoid speaking about the price tag unless the partner of the romantic is an accumulator, then you may have to balance them out. But just to the romantic, only address their need for sensory pleasure. Third, the romantic loves to be taken care of. And they're not necessarily tyrants that have to have servants around them all the time, but it helps. They like people who cater to their every need, that are there not to connect. Another archetype, another persona is the connector, but for the romantic, they want to feel that other people are there to take care of them, to protect them, to pamper them, to give them pleasure. And in turn, they want to create an atmosphere where the other person can thrive as well. Rarely are romantics rulers or tyrants that lord it over those that cater to them, but they want to feel a sense of well-being, the butler experience, the concierge, the experience of everything being at their fingertips without having to lift a finger of their own. Romantics want to receive, and they will be very appreciative of that. They will often give back in terms of creating a sense of a beautiful environment. So it's, while they love to take, it's a taking that then resonates out from them, because it's they create a sense of beauty all around them. So it's not just a self-absorbed beauty, but the more they receive, the more they can fill up the room, the experience, with equal pleasures to others. Have you ever had a friend or even a business partner, and the moment you step into their orbit, you feel at home, you feel comfortable. In their home, it's like an oasis of well-being. And so one of the elements that the romantic is so good at is because they desire well-being so much for themselves, that anyone who enters into their environment, into their orbit, into their sphere, will equally receive a universe of pleasure, joy, and comfort. Fourth, the romantic, perhaps more than any other type, loves being complimented for their good taste, for their refinement, for the very pleasures that they so generously spread around others. And the more happy you make them, the more happy they will make you. And they appreciate being complimented for that, acknowledged for that, because it's a hidden talent. Again, so oftentimes they're branded as lazy or as nightmare clients, because they don't want to pull the rope, they don't want to pull their end of the stick, if you will, their load. The romantic operates very differently. Once the romantic is in an environment that is beautiful, once their pleasure, they're feeling the pleasure and are being complimented, once they feel the compliment and acknowledgement and appreciation, then they step up and do their part. And they do their part in their own way. That is such as creating pleasurable environments for others. Perhaps you ever came to a dentist office. Well, the romantic makes it a beautiful experience where you are being pampered as though you went to a spa. Or a realtor's office that can be rather bland and sterile. The romantic will make this a home, as though your clients had just stepped into their dream home that they're desiring to purchase. So the romantic's abilities are a bit hidden, but once you tap into them, they can contribute greatly to your environment, your work environment, your business, and also you trigger in them the beauty. They become ideal clients to be a pleasure to be around, rather than clients that you have to push and pull and ask to, pull their commitment. They don't want to be held for commitments and engagements. Instead, foster their abilities, foster their best abilities, to bring out their best abilities by complimenting them. All of a sudden, the romantic that might have shut down and felt misunderstood as being lazy, now the romantic blossoms and shines and brings out the best in themselves. So if you have a client who's a romantic, never push them to further engagement, to give it their all, to go above what is required, like a lot of the gurus, the self-help gurus, will require of their clients. Instead, bring out the best in the romantic by acknowledging their need for beauty, by showing them that you appreciate that you see this hidden quality, and watch a potential nightmare client turn into an absolute pleasure to be around. Almost the opposite of the maverick who wants to engage and create their own experience, the romantic doesn't want to engage, nor does the romantic want to be convinced. And that's similar to the maverick. The maverick doesn't want to be convinced either. Watch our previous video that I created for you, where we dive into the maverick psychology. And please subscribe, like, and comment. Have you ever dealt with a romantic, either as a client or customer, or as partners, business partners, or romantic partners? So the romantic does not want to be convinced nor asked to step up and pull their load. Instead, they want to be complimented, appreciated, and recognized for their unique abilities. Have you ever had tea and you can drop in a certain kind of shriveled up flower, and when you drop it into the water, it unfolds and blossoms into the most gorgeous flower as it absorbs the water and floats as this gorgeous, beautiful creation, almost an artwork. That's exactly what a romantic is. Once you drop them into the water of your appreciation, your compliments, your acknowledgement, an environment of beauty where they can soak up what they truly need, they transform before your very, very eyes. They transform before your very eyes into something you would have never expected. And in a sense, for coaching purposes, they transform themselves once you place them in an environment where they can turn from shriveled up into this amazing, gorgeous, beautiful flower. They thrive on that, they need that, and sometimes no one else gives that to them except the coach or mentor that is a smart coach and mentor who doesn't drive them like an Anthony Robbins type, but instead wisely gives them the water they need to bring out in themselves the very best, not by pushing harder, but by receiving, absorbing, so they can blossom into their highest potential. Self-discipline, self-denial, and minimalism or asceticism do not mesh well with the romantic's personality. So in an environment, it is an environment that is conducive to beautiful couches, a very well-balanced environment, and minimalism rarely pleases the romantic unless there is a sense of inherent beauty in the minimalism, an inherent sense of comfort. Perhaps the Chakandi style, the Japanese Scandinavian style, would please a romantic, a certain type of romantic, but typically they thrive on opulence, exotic views and landscapes and flowers and a certain kind of over-the-top beauty. But once again, minimalism can work with them as long as it caters to their deep need for comfort, joy, relaxing, laissez-faire, just letting yourself sink into rather than having to tidy up. As for romantic personality, Nigella Lawson, the British cooking star, could embody the romantic type. She shows the pleasures of the kitchen, the sensory experience of the food, and not just the taste buds, but handling the food, touching the food, smelling the food, seeing the beauty of the food. And not just that, but she also, while beautiful in her appearance, made being voluptuous a new desirable body image, very far from the trained, super athletic, stick thin ideal that often prevails in the media. Nigella Lawson made the voluptuous, sensuous body, the romantic style, a new desirable image and something other women would often aspire to, and even men, because there was this appreciation of a woman who unabashedly luxuriates in all the pleasures available, especially to the feminine romantic type. Another famous romantic would be Oscar Wilde, who appreciated the beauty and the pleasure and the sensuous aspect of life, while also, of course, coming up with bon mots and witty words that would highlight his pleasure in the romantic. One of his phrases was, "I have the simplest of pleasures. I only want the best." That's the romantic for you. On the fashion front, Diane von Furstenberg probably would be amongst the first to come to mind for the romantic. Her famous wrap dress gave great comfort and ease to women, while at the same time appearing chic, polished, beautiful, and put together. And it's easy to wear. You don't have to think much about it. You just toss on the wrap dress, almost like a negligee, but you're ready and good to go to a high society event. Diane von Furstenberg's wrap dress is the perfect attire for a day out for the romantic lady. Amongst the contemporary acting stars, no one more so than Monica Belluci probably embodies the romantic style. Unabashedly sensuous. You can almost feel sensuality dripping of everything that she does out of every pore of her being. And that allure becomes so magnetic that is one of the beautiful aspects of the romantic. Once they have what it needs for them to unfold, remember the water that unfolds that beautiful flower, once you drop it in, once the romantic has that, they become truly magnets, and magnets for your business, magnets for themselves. They become magnetic in their allure. Think Monica Belluci in her sensuousness and in her unabashed celebration of all the creature comforts, all the beauty, all the well-being that is available to mankind. I should also mention Emma Thynn, the Marchioness of Bath. She is the daughter of a Nigerian billionaire and a British society lady, and a few years ago married into the high aristocracy of the Viscount of Bath. She embodies all the pleasures, the beauty, the comfort, and she has made a great business out of it because their estate has become a magnet of people who are drawn to high-class beauty. She exudes the highest style, the highest taste, sophistication, and well-being all in one package. While her infamous father-in-law, who recently died, would most definitely fit the maverick. If you know about him, he was an artist who was very outside the box. He didn't fit any image of how a high aristocrat should conduct himself, and he introduced a zoo of exotic animals into their home estate in the British countryside. Of course, Emma has used all of that is now her realm, and created a paradise, an empire of the romantic's pleasure. If you ever see her Instagram page, you will immediately feel drawn to this epitome of the romantic type. Bonus tip. One of the fastest ways to turn off a romantic is to overwhelm them, to make it too complicated so that it's too much of a challenge for them. A challenge is good for the maverick. For the romantic, it's a sign to stop, give up, and turn around. So instead, give them a very easy guide that guides them along the path you need them to take. Reframe their obligations as indulgences. Highlight the emotional benefits and the sensory pleasure they get from reaching their goals. Instead of speaking about the goal, talk about the pleasures that they experience along the way, and have the pleasures be highlit or sparkled with surprise and delightful experiences, and you will have the romantic eat out of your hand. And this is how you flip the script on the romantic from a no to a resounding and excited yes. You reframe obligations as indulgences. Instead of goals, it is experiences peppered with delight and surprise. And instead of drudgery or the daily routine, show them exclusivity and daily pleasures. Routine doesn't sound too good for the romantic. On the other hand, highlighting the day with pleasures throughout is what makes your romantic, turns your romantic from an enemy into an ally, from a no into oh yes. If your relative want to sell them properties or you want to sell them a car, always remember to highlight the beauty and the pleasure, the done for you aspects, and the out of the ordinary luxury that they can revel in, where their daily experience is transformed from the mundane into divine indulgence. I've made some free resources available for you and linked them below, where you can dive deeper into the different types of buyer personality or brand identity as well. And also you can dig even deeper with the course I have for you, where you can really learn how to play the different types, almost like a piano or a violin, a fine violin. Instead of taking up a violin and making it screech, once you know how to speak to the 8 different types perfectly, you bring out the best in them and transform your own experience with your clients and customers into one where you too can experience the pleasures of the romantic. Talk to you soon.